Welcome to VMblog's coverage of VMware Explore 2023. And today I have the pleasure of having Cody Hosterman, who's the Senior Director of Product Management at Pure Storage. How are you doing today?
Doing great. It's great to be here chatting with you guys again and looking forward to the show.
So we spoke with you last year, but maybe for people that aren't familiar with Pure Storage, you could give us kind of a quick company overview.
Yeah, absolutely. So we sell storage, you couldn't guess that. But no, fundamentally, right, the goal of Pure when we started, and this continues to be the case today, is really to make flash the primary data storage medium in the data center, right? By driving down the cost through, of course, data reduction techniques and things like that, and really putting effort into creating what we call direct flash modules, where we can really cram a ton of NAND into our back end, where it makes it super cost effective, right? We just recently announced 75 terabyte direct flash modules, basically one drive with 75 terabytes of flash, and that's QLC as well. So we really can drive down that cost, really removing disk from the data center. And that's the overall kind of technical goal for our company. And of course, we have the flash array product for block and file. We have the FlashBlade product for object and file, slightly different use cases, scale up, scale out. And of course, Portworx joined Pure Storage a couple of years ago too, to really go after the Kubernetes space. So we're doing quite a bit, but really it's about simplifying storage in the data center, making it cost effective, and really focus on ESG as well to deliver better energy efficiency across the board because of what we can do with Flash.
Now, Cody, as we're here to talk about VMware Explore, if you could, maybe talk a little bit about how Pure Storage partners with or works with VMware.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've had a close partnership with VMware for over a decade now. And really, we've focused our VMware partnership in a couple different ways. One was through design partnerships. This was always really important to me at Pure because we wanted to not build around VMware features and technologies. We wanted to build with them. And the best way to do that is to work directly with their engineering team to understand how can we deliver this feature or this value or this project or product directly into the vSphere interface so customers can natively experience it and experience it in the right way. And that partnership allows us to build a more supportable, better product with VMware. And also because of the direct interactions that we get with design and engineering, to make it integrate in the way that we would like to see happen. And so that's certainly been a major part of it. Furthermore, just in general, I've always had this comment around best practices or bugs. And to a certain extent, I believe that in the sense that if we had to tell a customer, you need to tweak this or change this to make our product work with VMware or whatever, that's a product problem. And really one of the main things behind that goal was that down the road, there was going to be more and more automated infrastructure. And the more you have to change and tweak, the harder it is to manage and deploy. And we're seeing that with the VMware Cloud type of products these days, where you can't tweak the compute and servers. And so making things default to work out of the box the right way was really important. So really delivering simple application granular storage into the VMware environment and driving that through design partnership and tight default engineering with the VMware product set.
And Cody, what specifically does your company offer somebody who has a VMware implementation, and what kind of problems do you solve for them? And also, if I'm going to be at the show, what kind of customers should come and stop by your booth?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple pieces here. Is that I think clearly, I mean, this is not a profound statement, but just like I said before, is there's more and more automation in the data center. And foundationally, it's easier to automate if the platform is easy to use, right? I mean, this is just a critical piece. And we've put tons of amounts of effort into simplifying the platform so customers don't have to be storage experts or really even storage novices, right, to use the platform. It's like, I need capacity, give me a volume. We ask you two questions when you create a volume. How big and what do you want to call it? Right? And if we could come up with defaults for that, we certainly would. And so really delivering a simple storage platform is the core piece of that. but making it easy to automate and bring that into your virtualized environment or containerized environment, as the case may be, or a little bit of both. Delivering simple automation is a big part of that. The whole concept of VMware storage as code is something we're pushing really hard to. So really, if you're interested in, I want to take better advantage of my data services, I want to provide deeper and richer value to my virtual machines and the applications running inside of them through storage functionality, automation, infrastructure as code, this is really what we're going after. And of course, just overall simplification of your environment. We don't get into the whole concept of configuring RAID and disk pools and things like that. It's just one simple box, give me a volume, right? So really removing that thinking about how do I make sure that I can protect against the right number of failures, or how do I tweak or configure this performance? That's something we don't want anyone to have to think about, storage administrators or VMware or application admins or DBAs. And that's really a foundational piece of what we're trying to do here with VMware customers. Just simplify your life and add value.
Now, you touched on your technology a bit already, but can you double click and maybe give us a deeper dive into the technology itself? What if somebody comes to your booth, what kind of things are you going to be talking about with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say that, we have overall a couple core product sets. As I mentioned, FlashBlade, FlashArray, Portworx, and Pure Cloud Block Store. The main focus at VMware Explorer is probably going to be on our block platform, aka Cloud Block Store and FlashArray, as a block and file platform, as well as Portworx. And so depending on what you're interested in the conversation might be, it could be both of those, could be one or the other. So from a Portworx perspective, a really important focus around that is de-risking Kubernetes deployments by making it easy to make changes, implementing actual enterprise-grade disaster recovery and backup, and quick restore. Right? This is a key thing that sometimes gets forgotten. Just sometimes you have a stateless application doesn't mean the infrastructure is stateless, and even especially when there is state to that application with a container. And so understanding BCDR there is not something that goes away because you deployed Kubernetes. And so we're putting a lot of effort into Portworx to simplify that and introduce that natively into the Kubernetes layer. On the FlashArray perspective, we support a unified platform for file or block, so you choose what you prefer. And certainly on the block side of the house, a big focus for us has been and will continue to be application granular storage. And that's a big part of that, of course, is virtual volumes and the granularity of the features that it brings to your virtualized application. And of course, moving forward, there's some other major pieces that we're focused on here. So NVMware Fabrics continues to be the next step in the storage protocols, doing a lot of work with VMware. They've put a lot of new feature sets in the previous. Certainly expect more of that to come down the road. And of course, the big part is VMware in the cloud. And so that's where Pure Cloud Block Store comes in.
So VMware Explorer has historically been, one of the largest shows around this, and tons of vendors, lots of competition. Maybe you can explain what makes your company and technology unique and differentiated in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a couple things here. One is, our overall focus and investment with VMware around virtual volumes and the engineering efforts going on there. We're leading the way there. We have multiple active design partnerships with VMware right now. We recently just shipped the latest version of VASA, which is the API that uses it. I believe we're the first vendor to deliver VASA version 5, which came out in 8.0 update 1. And of course, just to reiterate this whole point is that simplicity of our platform is really second to none. And of course, the whole evergreen nature is key to our business. And evergreen isn't just about licensing, and it's not just about technology. It's about both, right? So one is the evergreen promise. Essentially, we keep making your platform better through hardware and software NDUs. We don't license our software, right? So you just get the new features no matter what. We upgrade the hardware, the back end, the drives, denser and denser. And so your storage platform does not age. It keeps up with your infrastructure. And that's the same thing for the public cloud with Pure Cloud Block Store, is that it's a software-based solution. As AWS and Azure introduce new technologies, new features, faster, more performant, more efficient, we build that into the back end to make your storage better. So you don't have to worry about, am I using the latest version of NAND, or how dense is this, or what's going on with my back end pipes. That's our problem for our customers. And so the overall simplicity and flexibility that comes with the Evergreen platform. And lastly, the licensing portion of Evergreen One, where if you consume our OpEx license through Evergreen One, and you buy it for, let's say, on premises, that license will follow your storage into the public cloud. And so if you decide to migrate some or even all of your applications to the public cloud, you can ship your on-premises gear right back to us. No problem, because it's a license subscription that goes into the public cloud with you. It goes along very nicely with VMware's Cloud Universal licensing model too, where they've added their own flexibility and extended that to Azure VMware Solutions and others.
So, Cody, just real quick, are there any recent announcements that you guys have made that you could potentially highlight for folks watching?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited for this VMware Explore for a variety of reasons, but a lot of it is like we have a lot of new things to talk about. Announcements around our recent release around VASA version 5 that really drives the security and protection and flexibility around vVols even further. Our release around VMware Fabrics with virtual volumes as well. That's coming quite soon. So there'll be demos and stuff you can see at the show floor. So there's quite a bit going around vVols. And of course, continue discussion around stretch storage and vVols that's coming to a close here, which I'm excited to really finally finish up that project. It's been a long one and a great one. And there's also something else very exciting that we're announcing at VMware Explore. I'm personally really jazzed about it because it's something I've been thinking about for many, many years. That I can't quite say now, but definitely go to the show and you'll find out the details.
And at the show, VMware likes to talk about, kind of the big picture and talk about that on the keynote stage. What are some of the themes and trends that Pure Storage is looking at moving into 2024?
Yeah, I think a lot of the messaging from VMware and their focus is very similar to our own, right? Sustainability, energy efficiency, these types of things are super important to us, and that's only going to be a growing topic. And I want to say, especially in EMEA, because they have some really great focus around that. But of course, globally, we're seeing that movement. Hybrid cloud, multi-cloud, that's becoming realer and realer every day, right? Hybrid cloud is kind of where it started, but this multi-cloud message around what VMware is doing is starting to truly resonate, right? And I think what they've shown around the ROI of VMware in the cloud for existing VMware customers makes a lot of sense. You don't want your team spending all this time refactoring old applications, existing applications. You want them spending time on new technologies and new places. And so that ROI that you get just by leveraging VMware in the cloud is significant. And so this is something we want to continue to help. How can we make the public cloud VMware platforms more consistent with what you experience on premises? And bringing block storage for it does that for that 60% of on-premises external storage customers for VMware that use block, right? So we want to de-risk that motion, and of course, make sure that the features and enhancements they expect from external storage and integration of the VMware platform is in the cloud too. Just because they've made generally a business decision to make that move, they shouldn't have to sacrifice on technology.
So this has been a lot of great information that you've shared so far. Can you maybe provide us with some type of a demo just so folks watching at home can kind of get a taste for what things look like?
Absolutely, because one of the themes for Pure at VMware Explorer this year is what we're calling VMware storage as code, automation, right? We want to make sure that when you leverage our platform, that you can really take advantage of it and grow your business processes faster, right? Our tagline to a certain extent is on our booth is the last storage vMotion you'll ever do, right? We want you to bring it onto your platform and then support it for the rest of that application's life and of course beyond for others. And so really what I want to show here is the capabilities that we provide from an automation perspective around VMware storage and how quickly you can inventory, restore, snapshot, replicate, fail over these VMs and the applications running inside them, driven entirely through native APIs that we offer on the FlashArray platform.
All right, great. Look forward to that.
I'm going to walk through some vVols automation on Pure FlashArray. I'm going to start with the automations built into the vSphere web client. Within the web client, we have lots of different automations that are pre-configured. Here I have a SQL database server with lots of different vVols-based disks. When I pull up those disks, I've got a nice control panel here where I can import disks, possibly from another VM. I can restore deleted disks. I can overwrite disks based on a snapshot. And then I can control create snapshots here if I want to create a one-off snapshot. So lots of automations built in here that let me manipulate vvols on the individual VM. A fantastic automation built into the Pure vSphere web client plugin is the vvols replication manager capability. Here I'm opening the replication manager interface. I've got a set of replicating arrays. Here I'm connected to vCenter 02. I'm picking this particular array. You can see I'm replicating out to another vCenter environment and another array at that vCenter. I'm going to go ahead and run a failover here real quickly. I click run. I pick my target array. Here I'm taking the array at the other vCenter or the other physical location. I'm taking the snapshot point in time. I'm picking the compute entity that I want to recover my workloads to. I can pick my target network. Here I'm picking the same network segment as my source. I'm going to go ahead and power these VMs on once they fail over. I've started my run, and a series of orderly tasks will take place. I'm going to instantiate the storage. I'm going to go ahead and power on the VMs, surface the VMs at the destination site. Here I'll take a look at that other vCenter so we can see both vCenters here. So I'm opening up, you can see we've powered down the source virtual machines at the source virtual data center. And shortly I'll see my 4 app servers there. They've shown up. And as the app servers surface at that remote site, what we're seeing is a cloned copy of those application servers. So the application servers are powering on right now. We automate the answering of the question, whether or not we copied or moved those VMs. They're powered on and ready to go. And now if we look at our source data center, we'll see that our origin virtual machines have been deleted and removed from inventory. So it's that quick, an automated migration of vvols-based VMs. Now let's take a look at Power CLI methods. What I'm going to do here is walk through a basic workflow. I'm using the PowerShell module. I got it from the PowerShell gallery here. I'm running 2.2.1.3, easy to install. We even have some information out on GitHub, provides a little bit more detail. You can go out to Pure Storage Open Connect on GitHub and see a library and some examples, plus full documentation of the module as well. So let's see this in action. I'm going to get into vCenter, open up my virtual machine interface. Here I've got a folder of robot app servers. I'm going to open up this first app server. It's a very simple VM. It has a single virtual disk, and it's 40 gigs in size. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk through some of the capabilities. First, I'm going to log into my vCenter, providing my administrative credentials, masking out my identity here for you. I'm connected there. Now I'm going to stash some credentials for my Pure Flash array where that particular VM lives. Now I'm going to focus on a specific VM. I'm first connecting to the Pure Flash array with those stashed credentials, and I'm logged into the array. So let's focus on that specific robot VM. So I'm going to go ahead and create a variable for that VM and define the robot app server 001. We'll go ahead and load our disks as well. Now that we have our disks, let's go ahead and get some snapshots. We only have a single disk, so we're going to verify the disk. There's our single disk. Now we're going to load the snapshots that we have for that disk. Should only have 2 in this environment. In a production environment, you probably have a lot more. So let's go ahead and get our snapshots. There's our 2 snapshots, baseline and Overwatch. We're going to go ahead and load the snapshot as a variable, and then we're going to use that snapshot to create a VMTK and attach it to the VM. So first, let's load the snapshot that we're interested in, the first one, snapshot 0. We've got that loaded. Now let's go ahead and issue the one-line command to create a VM disk based on that snapshot. Pretty straightforward. That's gone ahead and created. And let's go refresh our virtual machine window here, and we should see that second disk based on the snapshot created. So we should see 2 40 gig vDisks attached. And that's a very simple vvols automation demo using Power CLI and the Pure Power CLI module.
Cody, I want to thank you again for joining VMblog today and talking about Pure Storage. I know we definitely invite everyone who's in attendance at VMware Explore to come by and check you guys out at the booth. But for folks who are watching this who may not be attending the show, where can they go if they want to learn more about the company, the technology, and some of the things we talked about today?
Yeah, there's a couple different places. So purestorage.com/cloud, right? That's gives you a quick place there to understand what we're doing there. Support.purestorage.com as well. Our VMware platform guide that has all of our technical information around it too is generally open to the public, right? I try to make sure that all our content is as public as it possibly can be. So you can go there and get pretty much everything you need to know about how we integrate and how we support the VMware platform.
Sounds great. Well, thanks again. Appreciate you joining.
Thank you. Appreciate the time this morning.